Thank you, Zoom Master, for the recording. Today, sorry, I'm just having a little trouble. Welcome to Leadership Speak. Leadership Speak. Losing your voice. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 6 clubs globally. I'm Jyoti Thomas, your Sergeant at Arms for this meeting. The club mission, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The leadership statement, Leadership Speak, is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Please make note that our timer will have the virtual hand raised so we all can immediately spot them when they're keeping the time. The Toastmaster of the day who will lead our meeting today is Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt. Hannah's leadership and effective communication started when she joined Toastmasters. This process gained momentum in 2020 when Toastmasters meetings went online via Zoom. Meeting many Toastmasters from across the globe has made an impact on her and made her aware of general values of audience she meets. Please help me welcome our Madam Toastmaster of the day, Hannah Schmidt. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam SIA, for that warm welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters, visitors and guests. A warm welcome to our 80th meeting of Leadership Speak Toastmasters. And we have a great theme for the day, the future of leadership. And this has also been the key speech by our speaker, Brahm, at the Global Leadership Impact Summit, GLIS, the past weekend. Today, we are going to listen to a fascinating report and the mesmerizing results that have been achieved with a team that has worked like a Swiss clockwork, truly a sign of leadership. Thus, is the future in or the future of leadership really in danger? I say no, no, and no. Our true leaders of the future, and especially in Toastmasters, strive to develop and create an inclusive environment. They invest in upskilling Toastmaster members to motivate them to become self-directed leaders. Humans are the leaders. Artificial intelligence is the workforce. I have a wonderful team to help me on my leadership today. The first person will raise a toast, and that will be Daniel. Daniel, over to you. You are muted. Daniel, you are muted. Daniel, please unmute yourself. Daniel, you are muted. We cannot hear you.
Maybe Zoom Master can help in unmuting Dan.
He's got technical problems. Can you move to the next one, please?
Okay, so he's gone. He'll be back just now. Just let me inform you whether he's back, Mr. Zoom Master, please. Our timer, Fabiola, she will ensure that my leadership will sail into the harbor on time. Fabiola, over to you, and show your colors, please. You're muted.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting. My role as timer is indeed to help guide this meeting to a smooth sailing. It is with pleasure that I'm taking on this role to help each and everyone that is presenting. I will be using today's meeting agenda with a couple of adjustments, my stopwatch, and the Leadership Speak customized timer's Zoom background. My hand, as mentioned already, will be raised so you can follow me anytime, wherever you are at. If you are in gallery view, that is the best way to get a view of me. But if not, just look at the first video. I will be using the Zoom backgrounds as follows. As you are nearing the allotted time, I will be showing the green background. Having a couple of minutes to wrap up, you will be seeing the yellow background, and have you reached your allotted time, I will be showing you the red background. Hope this helped you to accustom yourself to speak in your allotted time and say what you need to say in that time. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Madam Timer. Is Dan back in the gallery?
Yes, I am. I am in the room.
Over to you. Please raise your toast.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Today we gather here to raise our glasses and offer a heartfelt toast to the incredible organizers and speakers of the Global Leadership Summit, where they courageously address the future of leadership. We also honor the members of Leadership Speak Toastmasters Club, who have dedicated themselves to honing their speaking skills and becoming exceptional leaders in their own right. First and foremost, let us raise our glasses to the organizers of the Global Leadership Summit. Their vision and unwavering dedication brought this remarkable event to life. Through their meticulous planning, tireless efforts, they created a platform that allowed us to explore the future of leadership and gain valuable insights from some of the most inspiring minds of our time. We salute you for your passion, your commitment, and your relentless pursuit of excellence. You have provided us with an opportunity to come together, to learn, and to grow through your efforts. You have empowered us to embrace the challenges of the future and to become the leaders that our world desperately needs. To the speakers, we raise our glasses in admiration and gratitude. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your stories, and your vision of what leadership can be. You have ignited a fire within us to think differently, to adapt, to embrace the opportunities that lie ahead. Your words will continue to resonate within us, guiding our actions, inspiring us to lead with purpose and integrity. Lastly, let us toast to the members of the Leadership Speak Toastmasters Club who have dedicated themselves to honing their speaking and leadership skills. Your commitment to personal growth, your willingness to step out of your comfort zones, your desire to inspire others is truly commendable. Through your perception, your participation in Toastmasters, you have become exceptional communicators and leaders, and you serve as an inspiration to us all. May your passion for leadership continue to burn bright. May you embrace the challenge, opportunities that lie ahead, and may you inspire others to do the same. As we raise our glasses, let us toast to the transformative power of leadership, to the future that awaits us, and to the incredible journey that we are all on together. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, join me in raising your glasses to leadership, to inspiration, and to the limitless possibilities that lie ahead, to the future of leadership. Cheers.
To the future of leadership.
Future of leadership.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Daniel. The future of leadership, definitely. My next person on my leadership board is our grammarian, Ashwati, and she will let us know what she will be observing, and she will also have the word of the day. Over to you, Dr. Ashwati.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. And today I am playing the role of grammarian. And my role is to make note of all the good usages and not so good usages of English language. So I'll be listening carefully to all the speakers today. And my role is also to share the word of the day for the meeting. And today's word is thrive. You can see here, it is thrive. And the meaning of this word is to grow strongly and vigorously, or to do well, or to prosper. And the example usage of this word is, I do not thrive on reviews, but I do appreciate them and quite often reciprocate the favor. Or another example is, a true leader should be able to thrive in an uncertain world. So I will be looking forward to the usage of this word from all of you, and I'll make note of all those words. And we'll be back with the report when called upon by the general evaluator towards the end of the meeting. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashwati. Yes, we'll thrive where we are blooming also. Let me start the meeting with an appropriate quote by Warren G. Bennis. Leadership is the capacity to transform vision into reality. I repeat, leadership is the capacity to transform vision into reality. And that is exactly what happened over the past weekend at the Global Leadership Impact Summit. Let us hear more from the leader, Brahm, our leadership education speaker. And Fursey is his evaluator. Over to you, Fursey.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Brahm has told me that what he is looking for in the speech today, what he's looking for in the feedback today is flow of content, eye contact, pauses, vocal variety. I'm looking at it through the lens of not a Toastmaster speech, but rather a keynote speech, And that's the kind of feedback that I hope to give him today to move him forward on his astronomical path. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Wow. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Brahm is the founder of Leadership Speak and Global Leadership Impact Summit with 30 years plus experience in coaching, training, and consulting. He's an expert in connecting the dots to the future. Today, he will be presenting not only the results of Global Leadership Impact Summit Future of Leadership event, but also on the fast-changing terrain of leadership and Toastmasters. Timer, please note, his timing is 15, 18, or 19 and 20 minutes. It was a change of time. Memone, the future of leadership, a report. The future of leadership, a report. Memone,
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, Fursey, for letting us know what my objectives are today. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of leadership. Can you all hear me well? Perfect. This is all about how we thrive as we go into the future. Thriving is key to us human beings capable of doing something extraordinary rather than just at the survival level. Hence the future of leadership. Now, here's my vision. The vision was created with the help of the guidance committee, which was made up of several past district directors, some of whom are members and some of them are from outside. The vision of Global Leadership Impact Summit is simply a global community of leaders making a positive impact in the world, positive impact. Now, you will notice the word Toastmaster doesn't appear in here. The reason being that it is an open platform for everyone, not restricted just to the Toastmasters community. Hence, as you will see in the background anywhere, it doesn't say Toastmaster because we want to encompass everyone and welcome them on the platform. And perhaps because of the platform we've created, they will get to know more about Toastmasters, and Toastmasters will get to know more about what is in the real world, where real world speakers come and speak at this platform. Our theme, of course, future of leadership. The reason being, as I've said before, is that how can we thrive into the future? Because the global climate change and the geopolitical situation is changing very rapidly with the advent of also technology that's happening at an extremely fast pace. And so therefore, who are we supposed to be in the future? Can we bring the future now here and live the future here? Because the future isn't going to be somewhere out there. My dream, of course, was 5,000 people. It's a great dream to have, ladies and gentlemen, to have 5,000 people in one meeting. Did I meet that goal? No, of course I didn't. It was a stretch goal, right to stretch myself. As I've always said, I want to find my limitation, and I did come across my limitation when I set this goal. How many did we have actually in the event? On day one, if you look at the number of attendees on Zoom and on YouTube, we had 1/10 of that, 500, which I had said in my promotion video as well, for most of you saw. I said, I don't know whether I'll get 500 or 5,000. I'll be lucky if I get even 500. And I had told all the presenters beforehand that this is just a dream, 5,000 people. But it is not the number that came more as much as the value that I provided and the presenters provided and the team provided. That is very, very important. And I will be getting into that today, Fursey. So, ladies and gentlemen, the team of presenters, how many do you think were in the team of presenters? Anyone know here? It was a thriving team, by the way. Yeah, anyone?
19.
19 on the
Almost
team, the presenters. Well,
More than
here they are. Can you count them very quickly? How many presenters there were? Well, wonderful people. And there were 16 presenters over the 2 days. 16. And that's a lot of people actually to present in a summit like this that is put together on an HPL project. And it included an international president. It included one of the top speakers on the planet, coaches, trainers actually, who trains CEOs of Fortune 100 companies. We had club members who are also actually leaders in their respective fields, world champion of public speaking. Hey, Fursey, you there? Aswati Rajan, past district directors, world champions of public speaking, you name it, 16 people over 2 days. Now, normally last year it was held for 1 day, and about 2 or 3 weeks just before the event, I decided I'm not going to have breakout rooms, and I will do it over 2 days instead. And I made that request to all the people. Would you like to do it over 2 days rather than one? And they all said, yes, of course, why not? And so we did it over 2 days. It was just a quick decision and everyone agreed. And they went along with that decision. That was just amazing and so wonderful. 16 people were presenting. Of course, we had a team in the background that held the space for the 16 presenters to come and present. And I will mention the names as we go along. But here's what happened. This was our very first video, right? Do you all remember? So it started with this video. And in this video, of course, I said 5,000 people, all right? And between this video and the very last video, that was actually broadcast 1 minute before the meeting started. And you all know that video as well. We play every year with a different theme of pictures, of course, of the presenters. This was the video, the very last video that's played just before the event starts. Remember this one, if you were at the event? And as you know, the music in the first video and the very last video that is played just before the summit is the same music. It is branding. It's all about branding. And here's a branding logo as well. Now, in between the first and the last video, there's a lot of promotion that happened. A lot of images were produced, a lot of videos were produced, and most of you saw quite a few of those actually, all right? Tremendous amount of marketing. There were a lot of ambassadors posting all over the internet, posting in WhatsApp group, posting on Facebook, on social media. Amazing things were done to have so many people attend this event. The marketing was phenomenal. Here's the thing, as the marketing was going on, I noticed that posting on Facebook did not draw as many people because posting in groups on WhatsApp did not draw many people. The reason being that the community of Toastmasters is getting tired of seeing these images flash by, you know, and they don't even see. As soon as they see the image, they say click and delete or say next. They don't even look at it. The whole terrain has changed in marketing, either in Toastmasters or outside of Toastmasters as well, because I know I'm in the business of promoting myself on social media. I understand social media to the T, and I knew that. And I know that still the best way of marketing is to connect one-on-one. And if you remember, most of you, I told you, please send it to 5 people. 10 people, one-on-one, individually, and ask them to send it to 10 more people. Not only that, I have a MailChimp account, and it has got over 3,000 people to whom the email goes out. And so that is a lot of cost. It costs a lot of money. MailChimp isn't cheap. So the marketing also costs a lot of money. The technology, well, we use Zoom technology, plus, you know, I have to make sure that my technology is working. I've got 2 huge screens, professional camera, professional lights everywhere to make sure that you see me clearly when I'm speaking to the presenters one-on-one during the briefing meetings, and so on. Every person that comes to speak, either on my podcast or in Global Leadership Impact Summit, has to attend a briefing meeting. If you don't attend a briefing meeting, you can't come on board. And the technology has to support all that. And so the Zoom license, you know, you saw so many people come and attend. The Zoom license accommodates 1,000 people. So that's another cost as well. So costs are involved with the marketing. It's not cheap to produce an event like this. So for those of you who are thinking in the future to have a lot of people, but think of the cost at the same time. I hope that some of you are inspired. Now, the cost is minimal, however. I mean, by cutting corners and so on, but still it's quite a bit of money. And so for those of you who want to have 1,000 and more people, consider that. For those of you who want to have 100 people, then there's really hardly any cost. There's like zero cost, okay? And I hope that a lot of our members here are now inspired. This event has been done 2 years in a row. So I hope the members here are inspired to do such a project in the future as well as we go along. Now, this is what Lance Secretary had to say when he first started, when we introduced him. This is the very first thing that he said. I want you to listen very carefully what he said about this event.
I do want to say to
okay, just a second. Just a second. You know, I need to share the sound, so bear with me a second. I will share the sound so you can actually hear this. There we go. Let me see if I can do this right. Fursey?
I do want to say to Brahm. Brahm, I go to a lot of conferences. I speak at a lot of them. I help organize a lot of them. I know how difficult it is to put an event like this together. And I want to salute you for doing an amazing job of marketing and gathering all of these people together. You are awesome. It's been a joy to watch you do this. It's incredible. And I can't wait to see what's next, because this is just the beginning. So saludos. Well done. Yeah, awesome.
And he's quite right. Lance knows me very well. We are very good friends. And he knows this is just the start, because he knows my ultimate goal in 3 years' time is to talk to 30,000 people in a stadium. And he knows this is just the start of what I'm doing but that is something very, very big. And you heard that, you know, it's very difficult to put together something like this. It is. It's not that easy. But anyone here who wants to put a project like this together, the coaching is available, the mentoring is available for you. Now, here's the next person that blew my mind. This person is a genius. And I want you to present this person like, without this person, this event could not have been possible. The way it was conducted, I mean, talk about somebody who is so adept and so versatile and so flexible and great listening skills and understanding of what's being said, and to transform that event into a global, phenomenal, professional event. This is the person I want you to introduce you to.
Or reawakening our spirits. Dr.
Thank
Lance,
you.
you just showed us a new dimension of leadership. Is it about roles? No. It is about how we interact and connect with people. And to do that, we need to understand that we all are human beings. So let us create an inclusive world. What a beautiful message it was. Let us break the alien world we have created around us and deal with human spirits. Thank you so much, Dr. Lance, for inspiring us to rethink about the level of learning. Is it political, intellectual, emotional, or spiritual learning? Let us get.
Did you notice how after Lance had finished speaking, she acknowledged Lance and did that bridging statement? Now that is pure genius. I had never asked her to do any of that. And we never even talked about it. She just knows, and she brings us, the speaker, to life by doing that, first by introducing them, and then when they finished speaking, by acknowledging them. And this, it just blows my mind completely as to what this human being is capable of doing. And so, Aswati, thank you. Thank you for making the Future of Leadership and Global Leadership Impact Summit thrive. Now, as you all know, in Leadership Speak, we always emphasize leadership and technology is used to deliver service. And how do we deliver services is very, very important. Skills of leadership, and you saw Aswati, her leadership skills are like top-notch. And the technology that we use to deliver service, it has to create, you all know if you are in Leadership Speak, create excellence, it has to have quality, there has to be an experience by the attendees and it creates engagement, which it did at the event. There was excellence throughout. It was like totally flawless for 2 days. Day one was 5.5 hours. Day two was 4.5 hours. And it just flowed seamlessly. And Lance Secretary experienced that. That's why he said what he said. And that's why it creates the engagement and people want to come back next year. People are asking me, what date will it be next year? Can I put it in my calendar? Past international president Lark Dolly said, when will be your next event next year? Past international president, she wrote to me and said, I want to be there next year. I want to put it in my calendar now. Well, it'll be July the 20th. Put it in your calendar next year. I want to, of course, acknowledge Dr. Aswati Rajan, Master of Ceremonies, which I've just done. All right. Of course. And then Ajura Okpanachi, Director of Orchestration. I don't know if she's in the meeting here today. She was Director of Orchestration, which means behind the scenes, she made sure that minute by minute, the event was like on time throughout the whole 2 days. Our Zoom maestro was Kajitan Barreto. Of course, the team is made up of global Toastmasters from all over the world. That's where the team comes from. It's not just restricted to the club. And Kajitan Barreto is the master at technology. And so we have the very best people come and do what they do at the Global Leadership Impact Summit. We had 2 other Zoom masters helping Kajitan Barreto. Hitesh Parmar is 50 miles from where I live. And JP Celestino is in Indonesia, which is like 12 hours time zone difference from where I am. So when we ended the event at around 2 p.m. almost, it was 2 a.m. over there. That's the dedication some people show to this event. Our chief timer, what can I say? Amazing human being, Hannah Schmidt. She made sure that every person that came on the timing was trained well. They knew what they were doing, and it was seamlessly done. Our timers were Yuniati, Banasri, Paramjit, Chloe, Beverlyn. So Banasri and Beverlyn from our club, and Paramjit, and the others from all over the world. And that was the team that came to make sure and ensure that this event progressed seamlessly and was world-class event with excellence. There was an experience that people said, I need to come back. What a great event. And they would talk about it to everyone else and the engagement that it created. Here's an example of what the attendees are saying. Great summit. Thank you all. One of them. Excellent session. It was time well spent. Very valuable session. Thank you. This is on day one, so it said, see you tomorrow. Thank you, Brahm and team, for enriching us all with these insights. I'm humbled for I made it to learn from Toastmaster geniuses. Thank you. Of course, one of our members said, I'm speechless about today's session. What an incredible experience with Global Leadership Impact Summit. Fantastic work. And there was one member who sent me a private note saying, I would even pay for such an event. It was such a professional event. That's right. So overall, it means the event was very successful. The reason why future of leadership is we really need to unleash the potential of humanity. And that is why the Global Leadership Impact Summit exists. Through it, I do podcasts. Of course, I'm a trainer and a coach, and my business revolves around that. And of course, a documentary. I'm a documentarist as well, which is in progress. It's a long-term project, by the way. Patience, it'll come out soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, because of that, and if you remember my keynote, the keynote was all about, in whatever you do, win a victory for humanity, just not for yourself. If you're just winning a victory for yourself, if it is success is all about you, it's all about me and not about the collective 8 billion people, we really aren't doing anything much or different. If you want to do something different, make sure that your success means success for everyone. And there's a way to do it. There's a way of thinking. And I laid out the ground, and every one of the speakers laid out that ground as to what that is. And that is the future of leadership. Let's thrive together. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Brahm. Wow. But Brahm, stretch your goal and your dream will eventually become reality of 5,000 people. And guess what? We've got a new fever in our community, and that is called gliss fever. But we'll have to wait for another year before we can find any remedy for our gliss fever. Thank you again. Our first official speaker is Marianna Burka. And at the last moment, she has had to change her because of technical issues. Nevertheless, Madam Timer, her time is 5, 6, and 7 minutes. And her evaluator is Baron. Over to you, Baron. Please read the objectives.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Marianna, thank you for taking on the mantle today. Today, Marianna is going to be presenting a speech from the Pathway Lead Team Collaboration, Level 1, and she will be delivering a speech under the project of evaluation and feedback, the first speech. The first speech is purposed for her to present a speech and receive feedback, after which she will later on come and deliver a second speech based on that feedback into improvement. Now, one thing I would like to point out is Marianna's speech is not meant to be about feedback, but it's about her delivering any speech of any choice, and then she will receive feedback based on that. Good luck, Marianna. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Baron. Marianna Burka, the undying love. The undying love. Marianna Burka, over to you.
Undying love. Sounds romantic, right? Well, we'll see. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Did you know that our blood cells live only 120 days and they die, but our body makes new blood cells consistently, so we don't notice. Our bones fully regenerate in every 5 to 7 years. Our stomach walls renew itself every 5 to 7 days. But we have one cell that never dies, and that is our beloved fat cells. Did you know that you born with a set of fat cells and you are going to die with that set of fat cells? So fat cells are forever, but that's not a bad thing. I will go to that. But in the meantime, how many fat cells you are born with? Now there is a difference. Some people born with less, some people born with more. And you would say that, wow, you got a bad side if you have, and we cannot really count them. But if you look at your family history, that is your genetics as well, you might have a good guess that you were born with fewer or more fat cells. But regardless, our goal is, how can we manage it or control them? Well, fat cells thrive to be nice and plump. So when you eat too much, they are really happy to pick up all the calories, all the fat, and plump up nicely, which is great. But did you know, when you lose weight, yes, your fat cells, they do slim down, but they stay there for you. They are not going anywhere. But we can still do a couple of things to manage them. First of all, though by nature, fat cells don't die, but modern technology figured out a couple of ways to get rid of them. Now, one of them is, of course, liposuction. You probably heard about the word, doesn't even sound good, and I would never suggest to do for anyone. But that is a surgical intervention which gets rid of them, for sure, there is no question. But before you go there, you have to think if really that is the only option you have. But modern technology gave us some more friendlier opportunity to get rid of some of our unwanted fat cells. And some of these are lipolysis, laser lipolysis, or cool sculpting. Now they are working with the same system with a different temperature range. With laser lipolysis, with tiny laser beams, we heat up these fat cells. And these fat cells tend to die after 113 to 115 Fahrenheit, or 45 to 47 degrees of Celsius. And with school sculpting, science goes to the other end, and they cool down the cells to minus 10 Celsius, which is about 10, 14 Fahrenheit. And same things happen. So our fat cells, as sturdy they are, they don't like big temperature differences. So these are one way to control our fat. But I would suggest a much friendlier, much better control. And that is dietary or nutritional intervention. And you might know my favorite is fasting, because it's easy, it's cheap, and it's for sure it works, because if you are not consuming any food, you're gonna lose fat. Now, of course, there is a good way to do it, and there is a bad way to do it. And if you're gonna do fasting more than a day or two, you might wanna visit a practitioner. But intermittent fasting, which is just a couple of hours a day, anybody can do it at any time. That's kind of a lifestyle choice. It's up to you, but it is a choice, the good way to go to deal with your fat cells. After all, they are there forever. All they do is balloon up and then slim down. And that's one of the reasons once somebody gains weight, it's easier for them when they lose it to gain it back. But that's a good thing that they are there forever, because we all need some undying love around our body. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Marianna, for that undying love speech. And obviously, we all thrive on the new blood our body generates. And let's keep it up. Let's keep a good life and keep it up. Thank you very much, Marianna. Our next speaker, wow, he is Rivero, and Sandra is his evaluator. Over to you, Sandra. Please read the objectives.
Thank you. Well, I know that Ray is going to thrive in this delivery. Today, Ray is delivering a repeating a speech that he gave earlier and applying the feedback. And I'm going to be watching faces, so please turn your videos on so Ray can see them as well, because it's a humorous speech. And he's going to be particularly looking to see how his humor and timing slides in here in this international audience. So when you're giving your own feedback in chat as well, if it landed funny for your culture, this is what he needs to know, really. I'm looking forward to evaluating Ray. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. I think we're all looking forward to that speech. Maybe he makes us laugh for a change today. Ray works as a logistics specialist in Detroit, Michigan. In his Toastmaster career of 11 years, he has served in various club officer and district roles, including Pathways Guide, Area Director, Division Director. He is passionate about self-improvement through Toastmasters, and he has 2 Distinguished Toastmaster Awards, DTM. Ray Rivero, beyond the 24-hour limit. Beyond the 24-hour limit, Ray Rivero.
You manage time, or does time manage you? Fellow leadership speak members and guests, I thought I managed my time quite well until I took a time management class at work, courtesy of a company called Skillsoft. One of the exercises was to list down all of the activities I do during a typical day. These included my must-dos. Yes, boss, I'll get around to that today. My should-dos, I'd like to do that, but I'll have to wait. And my honey-do list. Yes, dear, I'll do that as soon as possible. And I included it all. But then I was thinking, I think I left out a few important items. For example, when am I going to sleep? When am I going to eat? And when am I going to have those fun activities that I need to recharge? I got so many things going on, I can only think of just one thing to do. I gotta find a way to add more hours beyond my regular 24-hour day. Well, does that seem like a crazy idea? I thought so, until I took another exercise from that same time management course. You might have heard of that, filling an empty glass jar with a variety of rocks. One color rocks representing you must do these today. Another color rocks representing I'll get around to them. And you fill it up with sand for your relaxing activities. I wish each and every one of you have jars filled only with sand. Most of us have jars filled with rocks of various colors and sizes with a little bit of sand. Me? No way. Because my rocks are this big. And the opening to my jar? Itty bitty opening space. This is frustrating. I can't thrive in such an environment, and I gotta find a way to add more hours to that 24-hour day of mine. In the United States, in North America, and some other places around the world, we have something called daylight savings time, where around the fall, we fall back 1 hour. For someone like me on a 24-hour mission, that's a great first step. 1 hour goes back, and that crack has appeared in my ceiling of 24 hours. a great first step. But what was giveth has been taken away when spring comes along, because we have to give that hour back. And that crack in my 24-hour glass ceiling filled with a windshield safety light auto glass replacement. Just save that product for any time a rock cracks my windshield on my car and not my 24-hour glass ceiling, please. This is frustrating. So what I need to do is find that company. Maybe there's a company out there that'll give me rebates on time, a free hour here and a free hour there. And maybe when I buy that extra time, they'll put it in a receipt and give me a lot of coupons, just like a certain pharmacy here in North America called CVS. If you're not familiar, think about how CVS prints out the receipts. Yeah, there's still companies that still print receipts. They give you a receipt and then all of these coupons until you run out of paper on the store. But what would these coupons say? I know I want my coupons to say. How about 1 free hour to catch up on your sleep and use it anytime you want? I want to use it during a business meeting. Don't worry, boss, I'm covered. I got my coupon to use. And maybe I could use coupons to binge watch my favorite shows on my streaming services, but which ones? I might need another coupon to give me time to decide. But what I would like to see is some of these coupons tailored to our Toastmasters meetings. Here's an example. How about an extra 30 seconds for a speech contest in case I go over? This would be a great idea. Oh, Miss Timer. Or maybe, how about a few extra coupons to rewatch that Global Leadership Impact Summit and hear all those great speakers again without taking any extra time from your precious weekend? I don't know how many you guys are going to need. You might have to get a few extra coupons for that. But you know something? Who am I kidding? What makes me so special that I deserve to have more than 24 hours in a day? What's wrong with taking these big rocks, putting a hammer to it, and spreading it out across a lot of open glass jars? Oh my goodness, I better get a lot more glass jars. And what's wrong with taking some time off each and every day just for me to recharge? Nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to feel guilty about it, but I haven't given up on my dream yet. I'm going to find a way to crack that 24-hour glass ceiling and add more hours to my day. And when it does happen, I have my coupons ready to go. You might need to get your own. And there might just be an app for that. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Yes, Ray. Yes, Ray. And really, sometimes or some days we really crave for more than 24 hours to finish all we have been procrastinating. But time and time waits for nobody. So even with your time change, one day you've got 25 hours and the next time you've only got 23 hours. So it still says 24 hours. Our next speaker is Venkat. And this evaluator is Ashwini. Over to you, Ashwini. Please give the project. The evaluation projects. Please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hannah. Today, my speaker, Toastmaster Venkat, is going to present Level 5 project one speech. The project details are, he is working to prepare to speak professionally. So the objective of the speech is to present a keynote style speech, exemplifying professional level speaker point of view in a style that supports the speech content. Apart from the speech objective, Venkat is requested to also look into the content and connection which he can establish with the audience by way of storytelling. I wish my speaker all the very best. Over to you, TTM Hannah.
Thank you very much, Aswini. Venkat, he is a fourth-year BA LLB student from Hyderabad, India. He is an author, a law student, a blogger, a mind mapper, a content writer. And he is one of the top 50 influential authors in 2021. One of the top influential Indians in 2022. He is an environmental activist, and to crown it all, he has a Golden Book awardee for 2023. Madam Timer, sorry, just to confirm, his speech was 18, 19, and 20 minutes. Venkat Sai, you are garbage. You are garbage. Venkat Sai.
Have you ever thrown your garbage in a bin, dustbin? Have you ever thrown a chocolate wrapper after you eating in a garbage bin? Toastmaster of the day and leadership speak members and all my dear fellow guests and all my nature lovers. Haven't we all some point of time thrown garbage here and there? Anybody? Raise of hands. Sorry, please. Raise of hands. Yes, thank you for that sincerity. How many of you are mindful of your waste production? How many of you are taking steps to reduce, reuse, and recycle? Triple R. Yes, yes, thank you, thank you. I remember once while I was walking on the road, beautiful road, but a lots of garbage here and there. But I do call it a beautiful road because it's my own city. I love my city, right? I saw a person carrying a garbage on the roads. Bins of garbage. And he was trying to look here and there. I was shocked why he was doing that. Because the garbage bin was 500 meters away. But why he's doing that? He was working as a sincere man going to a college or sincere school student going to school. But at last, he's into that bin. He has thrown on the road, but not on the bin. Why? That is a question in my mind right now. The next minute, what did I do? Any guess? Any guesswork for many member? Any guesswork? Okay. When I see that man, I went to that person and asked him. Very professional, very professional. Excuse me, sir. Why are you throwing the garbage on the roads? You are a school student and don't ask me about my thing. I do whatever I can. What is this? Isn't the responsibility of a citizen, Indian citizen, to tell the person not to throw the garbage? Yes or no? What is the question he's asking? Who are you to ask that? On that point of time, there is only one question which had got into my mind. Is he uneducated? Is he illiterate? He didn't have studies. Did he study of natural disaster? Did he study of environment? And he was saying that, gee man, I know how to throw the garbage and you're no one to tell me. And I can please do your business? Am I running a shop here? I'm just telling the person to throw the garbage in the bin. But when he thrown the garbage on the roadside, I, responsible citizen, took that garbage and tried to throw that bin. When I got back to home, I sat in my chair. I was wondering what to do with these kind of people who are in our city, in our country, are throwing the garbage on the roadside. When you're in home, do you throw the garbage on your surroundings or do you throw it in the bin? No, right? Then why are you doing it on the road? Is it not your city? Is it not your responsibility to keep the city clean? Are you uneducated? Illiterate? Not in only India, in your own cities. How many of you have seen people throwing the garbage on the roads? Please raise your hands. Physical hands, physical hands. He said, all the people throw garbage in an end. Why shouldn't I? At that point of time, I got only one question. If all the people are eating grass, will he go and eat only grass? If all the people are not eating his own lunch, if I have bread, butter, will he not eat only own the lunch? But the next day, when I was again walking to my college, I go and saw people, a bunch of people right now, a group of people going jollily, throwing the garbage, where one person has thrown the garbage in the bin. But the other four, they're playing a football with the garbage. What? But this time, I didn't react as much as I did before. But for the next couple of days, I see the people in my country throwing the garbage in the same place again, again, and again. People living a colony, and it's the responsibility of that colony people to make it clean and to have that sense of mind to put that garbage in a dustbin. Not to put that garbage in the roadside. Isn't that simple sense of mind which you all learned from our childhood? The next year, when I gone back to home, I asked my mom, this is the question. Mom, why these people are throwing the garbage on the roads? She told very simple answer, and that's how all moms react. See, you don't ask me every time all these questions. You go and do your research. What the research? I do research all the time in my college. I do research all the time when I'm in my studies, own studies. And she said, this is not your challenge. The next day, again, as always, sitting in a Toastmasters meeting, I sat in front of a laptop and worked down from 100, 200, 300 minutes. But I couldn't find the answer. And the next day, I got to go to my teacher and ask, ma'am, why are these people throwing the garbage on the road? Who knows? This was a who knows? What is that? Who knows means? I also don't know who knows means what. But and this got suddenly into thinking of making some impact on this country. I sat in front of my laptop. I started to Google it. After 3 hours of time, finally I got a bunch of helpline numbers. And I thought it's all over. It's going to solve right now. But that is not the case. But when I called that concerned person, and this is how the conversation went. Hello, sir. Yes, please. Is it a municipal corporation helpline service? Yes, I am the person. Please tell me your concern. Sir, in our area, there is a garbage dump. Can you please take the action immediately and clean it? Do you know what the answer is? I'm not responsible person for it. Please call the responsible concern person. What? Google says every right answer, right? Then why the Google can't say what is the correct helpline number? Google says what is the speech content. Google gives us Toastmasters evaluation form. Then why he's not giving the garbage helpline number or municipal corporation helpline number? When we open Google, the one and only website, Wikipedia. How many of you gone through Wikipedia in your Googles? When you open the internet, Wikipedia. And you know one secret? You can edit it. So don't believe Wikipedia. I again call the next helpline number, but the same response came again. Again, my mind, my body was helpless. I thought I'm not the only one person who can help it out. I need you, everyone in my country who can help this out. And I got to thinking that what to do? What should I do? Should I go to a police and complain, sir, there's a garbage come. They'll kick me out of the police station. Should I go to the prime minister or the chief minister and say, sir, there's a garbage some people throwing, can you arrest them? All the security people come and kick me out of that house. What should I do? Making no sense. Should I see that people, yes, they're throwing the garbage. I should also learn these manners. Are these other good habits, good manners which you are learning from the childhood? But I'll try again. I gave my 100% again sitting in front of a laptop and making myself clear that this time I should find the right answer. I got a government app, but I was wondering, is this the real one? Because I don't know. Government app doesn't work. The government app is called Swachhata app, where I posted a complaint, but there was no action for again 2 days. And the same. Now I got another thinking that when I posted and it didn't come for 2 days, are these people are really responsible for their job? Are they working for only money? Are they don't know how to do their job properly? So these many thoughts in my mind at a time. But what do we do? While I can notice still people are throwing a garbage. No. I did a complaint again after the 2 days. But this time, the response was immediate. Do you know what did I do in the middle of that? Within 2 days? You want to know? Yes. 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 I gathered a group of people of my own family and started to clean that of my own self. You may be thinking now, why he's cleaning? Or why he's doing that? Do you know why this COVID happened? Do you know why this pandemic occurred? Do you think it's because of some China people come into our India? Or do you think it's spread all over the world? That's not the case. It's about keeping our environment clean. If you have deforesting the trees every time and building buildings, how do you get the air? Do you get it from the building? Or do they on the AC switch and say that, yeah, you go to the air? Trees, nature. These are the important parts of our country. These are the important things which you have to maintain. There are many people say that or there are many chief ministers in India who only on the particular day just plant trees, but in all other days they don't care. Is it only the day you give respect or you say that you need to plant 100 trees, you need to plant 200 trees? Why not all the other days? Let me give you an example. Is it on only the Mother's Day or the Father's Day you show your love to your parents? How many of you are like this? Is it only on the Mother's Day or the Father's Day you show your love to your parents? Is anybody like that? You are not. Then why are you not showing interest in just picking that garbage? If you see on the roadside, I saw many people just ignoring it and doing their business. But that should not happen right now. That should happen when we as a people take that one step, move that one step forward and take the action. And if you see that result, when you do that, you and me and everyone will be happy, and disease-free environment, disease-free country in all over the world. Now, doing all this, what benefits us? You may all think. How many of you throw the garbage in the bin from past? Can you raise your hand? Just throw the garbage and be sincere in that. I don't want any answers which you don't. Thank you. And others who didn't raise your hands. Why? Can I ask why? Can you give me the right answer? You don't throw the why? So my dear nature lovers, or my dear leadership speak members, corrections. We all enjoy our sunset. We hate the heat of the scorching sun. We all want to be our society be clean, yet we hate to throw the garbage in the right place. What does it do to our minds? Mine was full of garbage, and I took the responsibility. Take that paper and throw it in the garbage. That's it. I'm not saying to you do the mathematics or do some algebra anywhere. I decided to clean my garbage. If I can do it, why can't you? By putting that garbage in this dump. Finally, for the 100th time, by calling again the same number, I was saying the response, yes, sir, we have cleaned it. And I said, only one thing, thank you. What can I say more? Thank you. Even they realize the importance of cleaning their minds in terms of their job, cleaning the society. If they realize the thing, why can't you? Now, here is a challenge for you, man. Leadership speak members. The next time when I come to the speech, or the next time when I come to the club, I'm throwing you a challenge to all the leadership speak members, how many are in this meeting. The challenge that my mom threw to me, the same challenge I would throw to you. Go out. Instead of whining, search for the solution. If you are aware enough, all it takes is turning ourselves, turning our minds from dirt to cleanliness. The dirt of mind is clean through the simple cleaning of garbage, starting from our homes. If you don't clean your home, what is the proof that, what is the belief that you don't clean the society? If I see now your home, if it's not clean, I don't have a proof that you clean the society. I don't have proof that you clean your own surroundings. So start with your homes. Are you with me in the garbage challenge? Let's start with you, Toastmaster of the day. Over to you.
Phew. Thank you very much for that wake-up call, most definitely. And I wish everybody, but everybody, would throw their garbage into the trash can for it to be disposed of properly and not to contaminate our oceans and Mother Earth. Venkat, you are a real environmental activist. And no wonder you are one of the 100 influential Indians. Thank you very much. Keep going, and maybe we will have a better world. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Brahm, and Asif is his evaluator. Asif, would you kindly greet your objectives?
Well, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Today, the project which Ram is delivering is from the Path Leadership Development. And the project objective is very simple. He is going to inspire the audience. And I'm just, fingers crossed, what is he going to inspire us with? Waiting for his speech. I'm going to look forward for eye contact, voice, and audience engagement. That is his special requirements, additional requirements. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Asif. And for Ram, it says reality versus fictional. What really occurred 2 months ago, requiring an emergency surgery, which I underwent at the hospital, South Lake Hospital. Ram Lakhanpal, unforgotten incidents. Unforgotten incidents, Ram Lakhanpal. You're muted.
Okay, I think we're okay. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most wonderful guests from all over the world. It was a normal day, spring, sunny, and very, very nice, 21 degrees. I went and sat in my car. The usual thing, da-da-da-da-da, singing and happy, going to work. I had a very important Zoom meeting that day. And so I proceeded on, but the normalcy turned into abnormalcy. A big surprise. What was that surprise? I was getting weak. I was really crunching. And I'm sitting in the car. I had two choices. Do I pull off the road and get a tow cart take me away? Or do I proceed to the parking lot, to my workplace? I chose the latter. I chose to go to the office because I was feeling weaker by the minute. Would I be able to control the car? Would I be able to reach my destination? So lots of things ran through my mind. Then another thing that happened. I remembered my yoga teacher told me what to do in the event of such things happening to you. I went into this survival mode. What was that survival mode? I said, I'm going to do yoga while driving on the steering wheel. And I said, it'll be very, very difficult for me to get off the highway. And therefore I went and parked. But before I parked, I started to breathe. I do the yoga pranayama. And I also did anulom vilom, all the things that were taught by my guru for 6 weeks. And I imbibed all that. Through that teaching, it regained my consciousness. It regained my energy. And that energy was fabulous. I got revived again. I wasn't that weak anymore. I wasn't losing fuel anymore. So what to do? All right, so I parked the car and I quickly said, I am going to the office. And I slowly walked to the office, very uncharacteristic of Brahm. Ram just runs like a fire truck or anything else, rushing to urgency. That's the way Ram walks. He does not go like this. He just boom. That's the way he drives. That's the way he walks. That's the way he conducts a lot of things. And then today, uncharacteristic of Ram again, instead of walking like a plane or doing something very, very fast, Ram went to the elevator to go to the office. Ram has never done that before, but it was necessary. And to the office, I went and sat down and started to breathe again. And I said, I'm going to regain my consciousness. I need to be saved from this problematic, nothing external, but something had to be internal. Then I went, but before I went to the lobby, I said, let me have some caffeine. I had some caffeine, went downstairs to the lobby, called 911. In 911, it said, is it fire? Is it ambulance? Is it something else? I said, no, I need an ambulance. But within 5 minutes, a truck arrived, fire truck. Within 5 minutes, it was there. Then 6 minutes later, the ambulance arrived. And then I said, all right, they're going to take me over to the right place. The female ambulance driver drove just only 7 minutes from my place of work to the hospital. And that is a hospital nearby. Ordinarily, a hospital should take about 15 minutes. She was taking me away. In the car itself, in the ambulance itself, there was a very, very great gentleman. What he said was, you need not worry. All you have to do is remain calm. The trouble is, what you're challenged with is a problem breathing, nothing else at this point. Your breathing is only about 21 beats a minute, and it should be around about 60, 70, 80, maybe up to 100. But this was a problem. And then I said, okay, I'm going to be okay. I was checked into the hospital to the private room. And then a little bit later, cardiologist arrived. He said, good news. You don't need a stent, you don't need a heart surgery, but a pacemaker that will assist your heart in regulating your breathing to normalcy, bring you back to where it should be. Next day, I was in a hospital, operating theater, and that was really something. Within 45 minutes, I was back and everything was done. I couldn't believe the speed in which it was done. It was just moving along. I was back in my normal hospital, local hospital that is, and then I went to lie down and rest overnight, so for observation. And then the next day, the cardiologist came. He said, Ram, how do you feel? I said, I feel great. I want to go home, doc. He said, well, how about today at about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you could go home. And then I was so glad. That's what the doc said. Well, find your cardiologist, a special one for you to monitor everything that's going on. I was happy. I came home. In summary, I'd like to thank my family at Leadership Speak, who were aware of this going, and everything was great. So many other things that happened, so many other people to thank, the doctors, the nurses, the operating theater personnel. But most of all, I thank my breathing ability when I learned yoga and I applied it, and that helped me a lot. But there was a conversation the following day between my heart and a pacer, Morse code, da, 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 da. There was going to have a communication going on. And after a while, there was peace between my heart and the pacemaker. And I was glad. Today, I'm happy. My troubles are over. I thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ram, for your unforgotten incidents. Yes, indeed. A normal day can turn into an abnormal day at the wink of an eye, suddenly, and then it's there. And it can become unforgotten incidents. Go into survival mode, as he said, and regain your energy. Remain calm. Do not forget to breathe. Main thing, stay calm, cool and collected. Otherwise, it just turns into another nightmare. Thank you very much, Ram. Our last speaker is Dinesh, and his evaluator is Nurul. Nurul, kindly read the objectives of the speech.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Dinesh is going to deliver his project 2, level 2, project 1 of team collaboration. The purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Nurul. Through EMG, I hope Dinesh explains what this stands for, please. We are nurturing Canadians to become future Canadian leaders. And we are doing this through effective team collaboration model. This speech is about the new initiative that we have recently launched titled Talent Mentorship Program for Supporting Nurturing New Canadians into future Canadian leaders. Dinesh Sharma, Nurturing New Canadians into Future Canadian Leaders. Nurturing new Canadians into future Canadian leaders. Dinesh Sharma.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Nurturing new Canadians into future Canadian leaders. I'm sure all of you through my earlier presentations have heard how passionate I am for supporting new Canadians and international students to become the future Canadian leaders. My presentation will have 6 components: defining leadership, type of leaders, brief description of each leaders, the current situation that we have for the new Canadians, what is BMG doing for these new Canadians, and last but not the least, a summary. Now, if you Google it up, you will find millions of explanations or definitions of leadership. This club is titled Leadership Speak. Each one of us has a different explanation what leadership means to us too. For me, personally, leadership is the act of guiding a team of individuals to achieve a certain goals through direction and motivation. Take an example of what the Global Leadership Impact Summit that happened, that Brahm organized it. It put together a team. They have been doing this for a number of months' time. Leader encourages others to take action. They need to succeed. But more importantly, to be a great leader, it's necessary to learn and cultivate the skills it takes to be effective. When I Googled it up, I found 7 different leadership styles: autocratic, pace setting, authoritative, democratic, coaching, affiliative, and laissez-faire style. Each one of us have different styles. So quick introduction, the way I found it out, autocratic, do as I say. I remember one of my boss used to tell me, either my way or highway. Did I really like him? Not really. Democratic, share information with employees about anything that affects their work. Pace setting, set the bar high and push the team to run hard and fast. Coaching, reservoir of the talent to be developed. Authoritative, in times of uncertainty, lift the fog for the people. Affiliative, forming collaborative relationship within the team. And last, not the least, laissez-faire, let people swim with the current. But why am I sharing all these things? You all are leaders. You all have different styles. Why am I sharing all these 7 leadership styles with you? When you want to bring a change in the community, in the society, you need to build a team. That team could be your family, your friends, academic, businesses. There is no one size fit all of the leadership style. So developing a signature leadership style with the ability to stretch into other style as the situation warrants may help you enhance your leadership effectiveness. So what change am I talking here? The change that I'm talking here is new Canadians. We all are new Canadians, at least I am. I've been in Canada for 22 years' time, but I still call myself new Canadian. Why do I say this? Why am I new Canadian? Even being 22 years in Canada is because of this. The current system for integrating the new Canadians to Canada is broken. Canada receives 500,000 people every year to meet its labor market needs. On the one side, many highly qualified individuals are either underemployed or unemployed for lack of cultural knowledge. There's a whole separate discussion, we can talk about this too. These individuals have all the technical skills, academic knowledge, but what they need is cultural knowledge. There's a saying, while in Rome, do as the Romans do. But we say, while in Canada, do as the Canadians do. That's the cultural piece part of it too. And on the other side, industry is struggling. There are currently 300,000 open jobs in Canada at the moment that they can't find people. In Canada, living costs are very high. So what are we doing as BMG? Recently, with the support of TD Bank, we started a new initiative called Talent Mentorship Program, which is nurturing new Canadians to future Canadian leader. So if any of you Canadian wants to become a mentor, here's a call for you. We are looking for you. Help new Canadians become their mentor. But that's not all. How we support other Canadians, new Canadians. We go down to them. We reach out to them wherever they are, whether it's participating in their graduation ceremonies at the academic institution, whether helping them enjoy the lunch together and appreciating them for the work they are doing it. But more importantly, bringing them to our homes. Because these new Canadians, they leave their families back in India or wherever the country, bring them, give them a family atmosphere. And all what we do doesn't go waste when we hear this kind of a testimonial from the people that, hey, it's so heartwarming to see everyone in BMG and the speaker so invested and committed to helping the newcomers. There's a genuine concern for the cause. Last but not the least, I summarize again. The leadership is the act of guiding a team of individuals to achieve a certain goal through direction and motivation. Leaders encourage others to take the action they need to succeed. To be a great leader, it's necessary to cultivate and learn the skill it takes to be effective. That's all about my presentation. Thank you for listening. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Dinesh, thank you very much. Wow, really passionate about his mission about future Canadian leaders. And maybe one day you can also call yourself or be named the influential Canadian. Wow, after so many excellent speeches, the choice will be very challenging for the winning speech. Yet, Toastmasters, the choice is yours. Vote for the best speaker. Mr. Zoommaster, please launch the poll for the best speaker. And I'll give you 1 minute for that. And while waiting for the results, let us stretch and breathe. And the timer will put her times into the chat box, please. I see she has put the times into the chat box. Thank you very much. And let me end this session by a quote with Alan Mully. Leadership is having a compelling vision, a comprehensive plan, relentless implementation, and talented people working together. And that is so absolutely true for leadership speak, because teamwork achieves great results. My tenure as Toastmaster of the Day has ended, and now I'll hand over my leadership to my General Evaluator, Amit. As an insurance and reinsurance professional for over 15 years, Amit has now left his job and set up his own company. He continues to be on the entrepreneurial journey. His interests include sports, animal welfare, and traveling. And since recently, his interests include Toastmasters and public speaking. Amit, please take over.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. You know, I feel good about myself because our Toastmaster of the Day has made my simple and humble introduction look really good. Thank you so much, Hannah, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, you all would have noticed that our pilot, captain of a flight, has taken our flight to the cruising level. And now it is time for us to serve breakfast. We have passengers from different nationalities here in this flight. And do not worry, we have a wide array of options for each one of you. To begin with, let me invite, we'll begin with the evaluations. I would like to invite Leah Musunga to evaluate the toast that was raised by Dan. Before that, here are the thoughts that Leah shared with me on the theme for the day. Leah says, with the increasing use of AI and automation, leaders will need to develop new skills to manage and leverage these technologies effectively. Leah, we do not have AI, but we do have Leah to help Dan and all of us get even better at the art of raising a toast. Over to you, Leah.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. I had the privilege of evaluating our toast that was presented by Dan today. And I'm just going to share a few things that I noticed from the speech, which I loved. I love the fact that Dan's toast, the speech that, because the toast is a speech, it was very motivational. That's one thing that I picked up from the toast today. And I like the fact that he spoke about the leaders and also the speakers. So that was really good. You could see that this was something that was really well thought out, and he had planned it and structured in such a sense. So I could even see that there was a general structure to the toast that was prepared. And from the speech, I could even pick up that it was empowering in terms of the words that were being used to empower us to think about all that had happened in terms of leadership. And so I really, really loved that particular aspect of the speech today. And I'm sure that all the people who heard it would have also been motivated by the words that were shared. I think the one thing I can then say, which I picked up, Dan, maybe just as a comment, is I noticed that you spoke really, really fast. So I don't know, maybe it was just maybe because of the earlier technical issue. Sometimes when that happens, it tends to make you a little bit nervous, but you tend, you're in terms of the how fast you're presenting it. It was really, really fast. So it would have been nice if you could have maybe reduced your speed just so that we could actually absorb a little bit more of what you were saying. But other than that, well done in presenting your speech today. Loved the fact that it was motivational, spoke to the leaders and the speakers. Just be mindful of the speed when presenting. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leah, for that insightful feedback. I would just like to add a couple of points. Some of you who saw the session by Anne Verghese on raising a toast, you would have noticed that the toast person who's raising the toast takes a sip first, and then the rest of the audience would follow. I think that was something that we can all follow when we are raising the toast. So that is one thing I observed. Thank you very much, Leah, again, and thank you, Dan, for that wonderful toast that you did today. Moving on to the next evaluator. Evaluator for our Toastmaster of the Day, Hannah. I would like to invite Francoise Bowen to evaluate our Toastmaster of the Day, Hannah's speech, Hannah's session. Now, this is what Francois told me about her thoughts on the theme for the day. She says, the future of leadership requires us to make level paths for your feet so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. I would invite Francois to now make level paths for all of us and even for our Toastmaster of the Day, Hannah. Over to you, Francois.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Amit. My leader, Hannah, thank you so much. Hannah is the Toastmaster of the Day, and what she's decided to do is to use this as a project from Dynamic Leadership, manage online meetings, and this is the level 4 project 3, sorry. And Toastmaster Hannah held her ground tremendously. One of the things that she excelled at, and it popped out to me, and I'm so sure it popped out to everyone in today's audience, that every speaker, after every speaker, she repeats what was said, a synopsis, adding an encouragement. It honestly stood out to me. And I was like, wow, in case someone might join the meeting late, or someone may have stepped away from their computer or whatever device they might be using to watch the meeting, or for whatever reason, internet disconnection. It's so important that whenever we are handling a meeting, that you give a synopsis of each speaker so that the person who is joining in, or for whatever reason, they're able to get a recap of what was shared previously. And she excelled in that, definitely. One of the things that I would say you would want to work on is the Zoom virtual background. You're disappearing like Casper the Ghost. So that's one of the things. I know it happens for all of us. You know, we use a virtual background because we want to flow with the theme, but sometimes it definitely hides us. At one time, it was just her face alone, and no, until it's like, what is going on? So just be mindful of the virtual background that you choose. And what I'm going to challenge you on, challenge yourself in what I noticed, what didn't happen is your hand gestures. You can also still use your hand gestures in giving a synopsis of the speakers, because I know that you want to ensure that everything is okay. But given an additional oomph in your synopsis of each speaker, the presenter will add. And overall, your evaluation was definitely sweet, like my Antiguan mango. Your project, yes. So back over to you, Toast General Evaluator.
Thank you, Francoise. I totally second what all you said, and thanks for adding that humor at the end. I would just like to add what I really liked about Hannah's show today. I like the poise that she showed initially when Dan got disconnected, and she was cool and calm as a cucumber, and she handled that situation really, really well. And I like this quote of yours. It is very reassuring. Humans are the leaders. AI is the workforce. That is so reassuring to know when we all feel so threatened with AI nowadays. Thank you for that, Hannah. Okay, so now we move on to the next evaluation, which would be for our educational speaker, Brahm. And for Bram's evaluation, I would like to invite the one and only Fursey Gotuaco. This is what Fursey had to say about his thoughts on leadership. He says the future of leadership is in the mirror. Its rise and fall depends on how well we all take hold of the opportunities. Each of us has to impact our space every minute and every person of every day. Maybe Fursey can explain that to me a little later. But yes, over to you, Fursey, for Bram's evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I appreciate the opportunity. Brahm, thank you very much. I also appreciate the opportunity that you gave me this past weekend to be part of the event. A fantastic event. Thank you. It's an opportunity for every single one of us to step forward, and you were the architect of it. I thought that the things you did well on this speech, technology, you're getting better and better at technology. The backgrounds you have, including the videos, terrific. I think including all of that was great. You're handling the remote control really well. The other thing that you did really well, you acknowledged all the heroes who were part of the event. I think that's incredibly generous of you. And that's exactly one of the things that you do well as a leader is you take all of us who are wanting to be leaders and you put us front and center in an opportunity to do what we can do best. And you showed that in your speech today. And that was one of the three things that you did really well. My biggest question for you, Brahm, on your speech was, what was the purpose? We know what the purpose of the event was, but what was the purpose of the speech? You asked me to look at it through the lens of it being a keynote. What then is the purpose of the keynote? It can't be just a report. right? About what we did last weekend. Oh, this was fun. It has to be about something that galvanizes us, that brings us together, the keynote, the one message. And if the message is we had a great time, okay, then we need to pump that up. But I think that there's more potential there. I think there's a potential not just to celebrate, but even invite us to move forward. In what way? What is the vision for next year? You said people are already asking about next year. Then let's do it. You have the date. I might have even began with that. Here's the date for next year, and here's how we get started. And then you recap what we did, but we're always thinking about how to move forward and get us, everybody here on the screen, all of us here on the screen, Asif, Paramjit, Marianna, Brahm, let's get us all excited about doing it for next year. Aswafi, she's still kind of tired right now, but you know she's already making notes for next year because that's how good she is. So I think that's one thing to think about. You asked me to look at vocal variety. In something like this, where you're talking about all the heroes, use your vocal variety, the pitch variety, the energy to celebrate people. That's how we use vocal variety in this kind of a setup. Let's talk about great people. So every time you say a name, it gets just a little bit louder. Just a little bit louder when we say somebody's name. When you say somebody like Venkat did a great speech, Venkat did a great speech, you know, pop that name out there. Amit, you know, pop that name out there, even a little higher pitch than you're used to saying. Why? Because we want those people to feel just a little bit special. And then when too many names are going high, then you go low, like Hannah. What a great job. You know, we can lengthen that name and make sure that every name stands out so that it's not a part of a list, right? We want the people to feel special. Don't let them become a list. Pausing, you talked about pausing. I felt like you were kind of using pausing in the transitions, but I think there's a better use of pausing in dramatic effect. Like how many people came? Boom. How many people do we want next year? Bam. And use the pausing before and after. Eye contact, you asked me to look at eye contact. Eye contact is hard when we're talking about a camera lens, but we can have eye gestures, and you don't have to have bushy eyebrows like me to make that happen. But you can use eye gestures to get that effect and that pause and get that kind of reaction engagement from an audience. I think there are two statements you made, Brahm, and they're part of your keynote that you made for the presentation itself: victory for humanity and unleash the potential. I think if you're going to do this presentation, then I would have it right up there in a header. I mean, you've got the logo right over your right shoulder for the event, but I would put these statements right there, subheadings, because they are great statements, and I would pop it right up there so that everybody knows we're here as a victory for humanity, and I'm here to unleash the potential, which is what you're going to do the next time you give this speech. Thank you, Brahm. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Well, thanks to you, Fursey. And just like Jyoti said, this is tech meets tech. And I saw Brahm enjoyed the evaluation as much as we all did. Although, Brahm, I have a couple of points that I'd like to suggest. One is, you spoke of a lot of highs. You spoke of all the high that you went through. I would have really liked to know some of the lows, some of the challenges that you experienced. And you could have taken us to the depths of those challenges and given us an emotional high and a low. That is one thing I would have liked you to talk about or touch upon. And second thing I would have liked you to talk about is, how was the managing of this event different from what you did last year? So I would have liked you to briefly touch upon that as well. I would have been interested to know how you learned from your past experience. But overall, fantastic, like Fursey said. Thank you and all the best to you for the next event, Brahm. Now, moving on to the first speaker, that was Marianna. And to evaluate Marianna's speech, I would like to invite Baron Ochola. This is Baron's take on the future of leadership. Baron says that understanding the direction we have to take as leaders in order to be ahead of the curve and discover or create a new future. This is the future of leadership. Baron, the stage is yours. Go ahead and help Marianna to stay ahead of the curve with your evaluation. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, brother, General Evaluator, Marianna Burka. Amazing, amazing, amazing presentation. I loved your storytelling, the structure you had in it, talking about blood cells and how they die. Then you finally had the twist of saying, but there are fat cells and these do not die, they stay with you forever. And from what I eventually understood, fat cells are the undying love because they do not die. Their analogy, I got it, I got it. What else did you do right? I loved your pace. As you can see, I'm actually following your pace because so often I speak so fast, but now I'm realizing that I need to slow down and let people digest what I am saying, and that is exactly what you did. The next thing was your gestures. They were visible and you used them very well and appropriately while at that. And going along with gestures was the life that was shown by how you positioned your camera. We could see your upper body. That was incredible. It is always amazing when we are able to see your gestures rather than having it like this and we can't see where your hands are. What do I think you might do to improve? Let me start right from the positioning, since that is the point we have been on. I felt that your camera was just a little bit lower. So you were looking down at the audience just a little bit. So you might want to work on that to make sure that you are eye level with the audience. That gives you the stature of I respect you as an audience. That is number one on points of improvement. The second is shed more light on the dying, on the fat cells and how they connect with undying love. How did you make that connection? I know you were able to, but the audience as well needs to know how you made that connection. The third is a very big point of improvement that I will look forward to listening to in your next speech. And this is why I saved it for last. Tell us what your relationship with undying cell, with fat cells is. And this is threefold. One, are you an expert in the field? Two, do you have a relationship with it? Perhaps you had to lose weight or something of the sort. Three, how is the topic relevant to you? That allows us to relate, knowing that we are listening to an authority figure on this matter. Other than that, incredible presentation. I look forward to your next. Whenever it will be, I will get on my virtual plane and join you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Baron. So will we. And by the way, Baron, you stole my thunder. I don't have any points to add except one. So Marianna, just one point, one suggestion I would like to make is that you spoke about intermittent fasting. I would have liked you to go a little deeper into why intermittent fasting and why should we do it and how it helps us. By the time you reach to that, you're already at the green light. So you were talking about liposuction and the other things. So I would have liked you to dig deeper and tell us more about intermittent fasting. So that is one suggestion for you, but Baron didn't leave much for me. All the best to you, Marianna, for the next speech. Thank you, Baron. Okay, so we move to the second speaker of the day, which was Rivero. And it's my pleasure to invite his evaluator, that's Sandra. Now, Sandra's thoughts on the future of leadership. Sandra states that the future of leadership is in each individual's own hands. As a compassionate queen of straight talk, she has discovered that being direct and compassionate, has developed her own style of personal leadership, encouraging others also to lead. Now, I would invite Sandra to serve a cocktail of straight talk and compassion for Ray's speech. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Emmett, and welcome, Ray. We are a thriving group, and today has been such a celebration. And Ray, you brought a lot of that celebration here. I want to just say that your personal persona goes a long way. I mean, you come on and you're so pleasant and so opening and welcoming just in who you are that I already am engaged, period. You are a winner. You had some really great rhetorical questions that were phrased out nicely, so we had a chance. You might want to pace those out a little bit more so we can let it sink into our brain, but great rhetorical questions. And as you were asking them, you were adding some really super duper facial expressions. You really went all out on your vocal variety, your gestures, and especially your facial. You moved around beautifully. The timing and coming along, there's times I think you're going to really be able to come forward with better timing yet, because you were probably rushing us a little bit. And the timing is going to be where you're going to make some of your impact. Also on your opening, it was interesting because you came right up close. But when you came up close, you turned your head one way, then the other way, and I couldn't hear what you said. You were kind of doing a little bit more of a, oh, this is the secret, and this is the secret. I know that you said, is time managing me? Or am I managing time? But it was just softer and it didn't have the impact it could have had. I probably wouldn't have bothered coming up close to the screen at that time. I would have been more, is time after me? Or can I manage time? That I would have been in a bit of a battle with it perhaps to get to it. You had those cracks opportunities and wonderful chances where you could have used dialogue and given voice. What were those cracks saying in time? Hey, Ray, wake up. Enjoy the daylight. So dialogue is always a wonderful way to bring in variety. You came to the coupons. Well, what did the coupons say? And you said, well, I want the coupons to say, but you could have just had the coupons say, hey, save money here. Come over here, rush there. These coupons, I'm important. That type of thing is going to give you a chance to really play in. Now, one area where I got a little confused, I think you had too many pots in the fire here. You had the rocks and the pebbles and the sand, and then you were over to the daylight, the coupons and the receipts. You would need to connect those or keep coming back to the rocks. Keep coming back to the pebbles. And if you're going to relate them to the daylight, the coupons and the receipts, I needed a connection there. Overall, I think you've got a speech that you could really move into a stand-up comedy monologue. And I would invite you to keep working on it and just work this speech around and come back another time and surprise us. It'll be changed enough to present as another project. Loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
The general evaluator.
Thank you so much. You guys all are making my job very tough. The only takeaway I had, one takeaway I had, which I would not forget from Ray's speech is honeydew. Honeydew. Now I know where I am most busy throughout the day. I have a name to it. Thank you so much, Ray, for that. Moving on to the next speaker, who was Venkat. And I would like to invite his evaluator, Ashwini. Now, these are Ashwini's thoughts on the future of leadership. Ashwini states that the future of leadership translates into embracing and empowering the team who wishes to create an impact in the society, overcoming all the odds along the way. Ashwini, please guide Venkat overcoming the odds and create a better society for you and for us. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amit. We can change the world and make it a better place to live in. And that is you who can make the change, said Nelson Mandela. And this exactly I could feel in every step of your speech when you did a keynote style speeches. You started with the questions, you came along with anecdotes, and then you had a very strong message to convey to the audience. But when you did that, I was able to analyze your speech on 5 important aspects. With taking us to your college days, your school days, you were able to establish the context of your message which you were planning to give at the end. The kind of characters you brought in, obviously the character lends a lot of credibility. The character of Venkat, the character of Insane Man, the character of Mommy, who had a who was a bit angry for your questions which you asked her, and the character of your teacher, who was also annoyed when you asked why people throw garbage. The connection, what you brought in at the middle of the story, when you said, didn't you learn from your childhood not to throw garbage on this in your house? Then why you do outside? And that was a point which you could convey to us in a very strong way. You urged all the audience to take that next step. And that's where you were able to showcase the change from the current situation, or from the situation you've gone through, to what a future looks like. And that was the day when you thought of taking that one step. After calling multiple times your municipal corporation and not responding, you took up that step. That is where you established case in point. You were able to give the solution to the problem statement which people had, and no one knew the answer to it. But while you were doing it, there were certain body gestures, hand movements, which you could have worked to take this speech to a next level. Probably when you urged people, right, you pointed fingers like this, which is bit, when you are speaking with a global audience, it is a bit annoying. It's okay when we are having an interaction with our friends, but when we are speaking, you're urging. So instead of doing this, you could have said, I urge you all, let's take up that next step in throwing our garbage in our own dustbin, instead of pointing fingers. So that was one point which I have come across when you are delivering speech. I think that is where you can work upon. Your hand gestures should sync along with your speech. So when you are speaking at times, your pace was a little fast. So I think initially you were a bit fast, but then you slowed down and we were able to connect with you. And kudos to you for making us feel angry when we see people throwing garbage on the road unnecessarily. And I was really able to connect with that. I could think about those times when I walk on the road and I see people throwing garbage. So the expressions, body language, the content was something which you have created very well, very simple to understand, very easy to assimilate and connect with your story. So from that perspective, from a keynote style perspective, I think you were able to establish connection with the audience. But again, when we are speaking in a professional environment, you have to be a little calm. The angst was there at the start, but you should have calmed down with your body language and you should have been able to convey your message very effectively. So all in all, a great speech, but hand gestures, body movements is something which would help you to take this speech to the next level. Thank you, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Ashwini, and I'm sure your suggestions will help Venkat overcome all the odds into becoming a great keynote speaker. I just have one point to add, Venkat. I realized that you mentioned a lot of times you said India. We have this problem in India. Now, this could be an India-centric, this could be a global problem actually. Every country might have this problem. And since you are addressing a global client, you could have made this problem a global problem rather than talking about only India. So that is one suggestion I'd like to offer to you. And thank you very much, Venkat, for that speech, and Ashwini for that evaluation. We now move on to the fourth speaker, which was Ram. And to evaluate Ram's speech, I would like to invite Asif Syed. And these are Asif's thoughts on the future of leadership. Asif says, the future of leadership will usher in new opportunities and challenges. Successful leaders will have to build agility in their delivery, be it tech savvy, unlearn and relearn digitally driven trust and relationship models, nurture their emotional intelligence, and champion global values. Asif, could you please help Ram unlearn and relearn some aspects with your evaluation? Over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Today, Ram inspired us with how do you get into a survival mode when things don't go as per the way they were supposed to be. Ram, I heard in your whole story, the scene setting, how good the weather was, how good you were at driving with the music, and suddenly things changed so fast and it could be a catastrophe, a matter of life and death. And that's what we heard. I saw so many characters in the story which you mentioned. The scenes moved from the car to the office and from office to the hospital. What I really loved about this whole speech, Ram, is that throughout this whole speech, you were calm and composed, and you had a very good eye contact and transitioning from one scene to another. The vocal variety and your hand gestures or the physical gestures, which should be accompanying such a beautiful story, I believe needs to be enhanced with such a powerful message as that which concerns our life and death. For example, you did try, I could see that when you were showing that how you are feeling weak, and then you made a good effort in showing that you're going down over there. But imagining that how does a slump happens and how do you go down would have enhanced as a weak, how do you feel weak? That would really have enhanced the story. The dialogues between the, let's say, the ambulance, the person who was attending you in the ambulance. Oh, you don't have to worry, sir. It's only just your breathing is a bit low. It's just 21 and we want to enhance it. Something could that way, So a bit of change in the vocal variety would have really, put a power into the speech. Overall, most important was that it's only after going through the whole speech that is I realized that what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to learn yoga? Am I supposed to learn breathing? That's what I understood from the whole speech as kind of an inspiration. So that message could have been, could have been, later on conveyed back again to the audience that what are we expected to do? What is our key action which we need to be taking so that in any such kind of a situation, we could survive, whether we should learn Anulom Vilom or should we learn yoga or we should practice breathing exercises. But overall, still, it reminds me and reminds us all to be cognizant of breathing, which forms the essence of our survival in this world. A very nice speech. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Asif, for that insightful evaluation. I totally second you on the point about this was an inspirational speech. So when you gave your story, which was highly impactful, I would have just liked the emphasis to be a little more on you, which is on us. So had you made it little about us as well, we would have perhaps felt it a little more inspired to stay calm. But overall, a fantastic speech and a wonderful evaluation. Thank you, Ram and Asif. Okay, so we would now move on to the next speaker's evaluation. Dinesh Sharma was the speaker and Norul was the evaluator. Now, these are Norul's thoughts on the future of leadership. She says that the future of leadership will be a challenge as most interactions take place on a virtual platform. Strong leadership could be built on strong foundations and correct guidance. Mentoring and coaching would have a huge impact on individuals and play a huge role in the future of leadership. And Leadership Speak is playing a pivotal role in achieving the task. Well, indeed it is, Nurul. Over to you for Dinesh's evaluation.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Yes, Dinesh, thank you very much for very informative and inspirational speech. We all know that PMG playing a huge role in really grooming the future Canadians. Yes, Dinesh, that your project is to understand your leadership style. By delivering your speech, you really finally narrowed down the leadership style, what you are really having, what you are really making use of it. I really like the way that you presented your speech, especially when you compare the current situation of new Canadians. It was really well presented. Even I was thinking, oh my God, what a lot of research that you have done. And finally, you said that you have the new initiative, that you're having in the talent mentorship program. Through that, you want to do the mentoring of the new Canadians. And also when you presented the pictures, how you motivate the new Canadians, how you are touching their heart by being with them to celebrate their success. What a fantastic way. Yes, Dinesh, it was a very, very inspirational speech and very well with very lot of information. Thank you very much again. And what I felt was, Dinesh, at the beginning of your speech, you said that we have heard your speeches and you have a lot of presentation. Yes, you have done a lot of presentation on the similar subject, not the same subject, similar topics. But if there was a newcomer, he would not have known it. So you could have just avoided that one. And also what I felt was, you are doing a lot of presentation, fantastic. But still, your Zoom presence, I think you have to improve. For example, I think when you use your presentation, the slides deck, I think better to use a clicker so that you don't have to look down, because that is making you to look down the screen. So you're not looking at us as a speaker. So I think if you can improve that one, that your speech would have, the delivery would have been very much better. And also, I really liked the way that you researched the leadership styles more than the path, what is given in the pathway. You have gone and Googled it and you found, and you gave us a brief introduction of the leadership styles. And from that onwards, you really delivered your speech. So with that, I think, Dinesh, with the Zoom presence, improving on the Zoom presence, and I also felt that you could have used more time on exploring the information, how you are giving to the members. If you have explored it and put it in a very detailed manner, that speech would have been much value to the speech and the audience. And other than that, congratulations for the well presented and informative speech. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Norul, for another fantastic evaluation. I'm sure, like Dinesh said, if his boss is autocratic, he would not like him, and I'm sure Dinesh doesn't like me because of the message that I was sending in the group. This is how the arrangement is going to be. So I was being autocratic there, and that definitely is not something that a lot of people appreciate. Okay, moving on. Now, I would request the timer, Fabiola, to kindly share the timings taken by the evaluators in the chat. And also, if the vote for the best evaluator polls can be launched, we can move ahead with the rest of the evaluation. Thank you. Thank you, Fabiola. Okay, so now we move on to the observations that I could make during the meeting. Now, these are some of I have divided my evaluation into two parts, during the meeting and before the meeting. Very quickly, during the meeting, a lot of things went well, but in the interest of time, I'll only talk about some things that I felt could have been done differently. First is, initially, I felt that when the meeting room was open for guests, I noticed that a lot of us were still talking amongst ourselves. So that is one thing perhaps we can change, and we can focus more on the guests and talk to them a little more and make them feel at home and get to know them a little more. And we can all talk after the meeting amongst ourselves. So that is one thing I feel that we could have done differently. Another thing that I feel is that the theme of the meeting, in my view, is crying out for justice. The schedule is so packed that the Toastmaster of the day just gets about 8 to 9 minutes throughout the meeting. And to do justice to the theme of the meeting in that short a time is not enough. So I feel perhaps we can look at maybe lessening one speech and allowing the Toastmaster of the day to dig a little deeper into the theme so that we also learn basis the research that the Toastmaster might have done. Second suggestion is that evaluations today were outstanding. All the evaluations were fantastic. However, as an advanced club, I feel we deserve more. So I have one recommendation, which is that if we can have a form wherein each of the members or whoever wishes to just put in one thing that we like in one area of recommendation. So the speaker would get a multitude of feedback and observations, and they can actually grow from it. So this is one recommendation I like to make. And one final suggestion of the meeting is that because we have back-to-back speeches, at times it may get a little tiring and difficult for members to concentrate. Just to break the monotony, I feel maybe we can look at doing the thought of the day after the third speech perhaps, and then continuing with our speeches. So that would give us a break and maybe refresh us a little bit and then go on with the speeches, because I feel thought of the day may be, maybe loosening a bit of sheen because it is at the end and a lot of us get tired. So maybe we can look at that. Now, coming to some points that I would like to that I observed, I would like to comment on before the meeting happened. I learned something very interesting today, which was, not today, but in the last few days, is how to manage accountability without authority. So GE role, I feel, outside of the meeting needs to have little more authority. GE is responsible for identifying and nominating evaluators, but somehow the GE is not able to make any changes in the easy speak. And the coordination between the GE and the others demands a lot of time. Second thing I would like to say is I would like to thank actually Jyoti, Bindu and Fursey, because I had some backups for evaluators who may not turn up, or if I have any problems with the power connection. So Jyoti very kindly agreed to be a backup general evaluator for me, apart from being an evaluator. And Fursey also volunteered to do 2 evaluations, and so did Bindu. So I would really like to thank them. This is what leadership is all about. And last but not the least, I would like to say one request, that the Toastmaster of the day and the GE have to follow up quite a bit with some of the members for sending the information. Now, time is not money. Time is a lot more than money. And it would be appreciated if, with a request, maybe a response can be sent at the earliest, so that people don't have to follow up for basic information. So this was my report before and during the meeting. I would now pass on the baton to our Toastmaster of the day. Before that, just like one announcement, I believe Fabiola has to leave. So maybe if she can continue, fine. Otherwise, I think we can look for an alternate timer for the remainder of the meeting. I leave it to Toastmaster of the day and Fabiola to decide. Thank you so much. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator, for steering this leadership into safe harbors. But I'd like to add or quickly get our grammarian's report, please. Over to you, Ashwati, Dr. Ashwati, quickly, just quickly.
Yes, thank you so much, Hannah. So today's meeting was very interesting, and I actually got a treasure chest. And when I opened that, it was full of all positive and very powerful words. So because I don't have much time, so I'm just quickly going through the list of words which I got from today's speeches. And you can see that there were some interesting use. Speaker Dan, he used honing the skills, unwavering dedication, meticulous planning. All those were beautifully used in his speech. And there were usage of some nice quotes too. Started with our Toastmaster of the day, Hannah. She used a beautiful quote in her introduction. Leadership is a capacity to transform vision into reality, by Warren Bennis. That was a beautiful quote to start, which was in line with our theme of the day. And I would like to mention about Fursey, who used some very interesting words. He used astronomical path for introducing our speaker. So it was an unusual usage of that word, but very beautifully used. And also, he said to celebrate people instead of appreciating people. To celebrate people, it was more powerful. So that was a beautiful usage. And then again, we had few very interesting quotes by Brahm about unleash the potential of humanity, win a victory for humanity, not just yourself. That was again very beautiful quote which he used. Then, sorry, it's not moving. I don't know. Yeah. So again, because of the time, I'm just going through quickly. I'm just showing the whole screen to all of you. There were some idioms also used in our used by the speakers, like Amit, our general evaluator. He used cool and calm like a cucumber, stole my thunder. So it made the speech very interesting when you use idioms and phrases. So again, a beautiful quote used by Ashwini. It is in your hands to make a better world for all who live in it, by Nelson Mandela. Very beautiful quote, and aptly said at that point during her evaluation. So here are a few suggestions from my side which could be better. Time doesn't wait for anyone. So instead of that, we can use time and tide wait for none, which is a very famous quote, which easily we can fit in there. And again, few other usages. When I see that man, because the story was about past incidents. So when I saw that man, do not put the garbage in the roadside. It should be do not throw garbage on the roadside. This got me suddenly to thinking. The better usage is this made me think. And by my own self can be by myself. So these are few suggestions from my side as a grammarian. So, and many of the members, they used word of the day. So I really appreciate Jyoti, Brahm, Henna, Marianna, Ray, all of them. A big round of applause for all of you. So thank you so much, and over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much. And before we step off board, I have one more Toastmaster on board, and that is Satnam with her thought of the day. Over to you, Satnam.
President, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, good afternoon. A message for future of leadership. In the ever-changing landscape of the future, leadership must evolve to meet the demands of a rapidly advancing world. The leaders of tomorrow will recognize that true success is not measured by personal achievements, but by the positive impact they make on their teams, organizations, and society as a whole. The future of leadership is about embracing uncertainty and complexity with courage and adaptability. It is about cultivating a culture of continuous learning and fostering an environment where creativity and critical thinking flourish. Leaders of the future will be lifelong learners, open to new ideas and receptive to feedback, committed to their own growth as well as that of those they lead. They will harness the power of technology to bridge gaps, create opportunities, and solve global challenges. As we step into this future of leadership, let us remember that leadership is not about position or authority. It is about influence, inspiration, and certitude. Each one of us has the potential to be a leader, to influence change, and shape a better world. Let us rise to the occasion and embrace the responsibility of leadership with humility and empathy and a commitment to the well-being of all. Together, we can build a future where leadership is a force for good, guiding us towards a brighter and more compassionate world for generations to come. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Satnam, for those inspiring words. Definitely. And just a question, Ray, have you got the certificates for the speakers that we can quickly on evaluators?
Yes, I do. Just a
Thank
moment.
you. Could you?
Absolutely. Today, our best speaker is Brahm Memone. And our best evaluator is Fursey Gotuaco. Congratulations to both of you gentlemen for winning the best speaker and evaluator for today's meeting.
Congratulations and jubilations. Thank you very much. I now hand over my captaincy of my leadership to our president, Asif. Over to you.
Well, thank you, Hannah, very much for a beautiful steering of our today's meeting, a fabulous way, we steer the meeting today. And what is there for our future as a leaders? We learned a lot from Brahm. Needless to say, I don't want to emphasize more on that, what is there for future as a leaders. We have taken, we have crossed our agenda time. So I would request now to stop the recording and then I'll adjourn now the meeting, hand over to Brahm. Brahm, could you please address our guests as well?